What's up guys, Jeremy here and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? My name is Jeremy Mateo. I am a real estate broker and investor here in Hawaii. In today's video, we're gonna go over everything that went horribly wrong during my first experience of flipping a home. I'm just kidding, nothing went horribly wrong or nothing went crazy, but I'd be lying if I told you that everything went 100% perfectly according to plan. If you didn't know, a couple weeks ago, I posted a video detailing my first experience of flipping a home. It went over everything from beginning to end. If you haven't watched that video yet, I'll put a link to the video in the description below. But as I was saying, in that video, I go over everything from beginning to end, but what I didn't mention in that video was all the mistakes I made and everything that went wrong. Yes, it was my first time flipping a home, and although we made $72,000 in profit, mistakes were made and things did go wrong. But I do want to be 100% transparent about that because not everything is rainbows and butterflies, and this is a high-risk kind of business. And hopefully for the people watching this that are interested in flipping homes, you will be able to learn from all these mistakes. But before we go on with this video, I have to ask you to please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. And while you're at it, you might as well go ahead and follow me on all my other social media platforms as well. All right, thank you for doing that. Now let's get on with this video and talk about all the screw ups that I made. So when we talk about mistakes, we're going to start backwards and begin with the end, which is the profit. So when we sold at $795,000, we ended up profiting about $72,000. Honestly speaking, according to my calculations when I first took on the project, I was expecting a little more over $100,000 in profit. Kind of a big difference. Now, please don't get the wrong message. I'm not trying to say that I'm unhappy with the profit we got or that, I'm trying to be greedy and that I wanted more money. I'm just saying that it wasn't what we expected with the calculations we had. The reason that I'm bringing this up first is because this is kind of a serious matter. I mean, when you are taking these big risks and, you're risking not only your money, but other people's money, especially your friends' money, you need to make sure that you are on point with your estimates. So how did I get this wrong? Well, I think it has a lot to do with how I calculated the numbers. You're probably asking, how do you calculate the numbers? Well, every flipper usually has some kind of spreadsheet or Excel sheet that calculates the numbers for you when you plug and chug the numbers. When I first started real estate investing back in January, I was trying to find a calculator that I could use just to get an idea of what I would do or what returns I would get if I were to take on a flip project. And then so I found this random spreadsheet on Google and I used that to calculate the numbers. Here's a snapshot of the numbers I calculated with the first spreadsheet. As you can see, it has all the basic information, how much we were buying it for, how much is rehab, how much we are selling it for, and it does have a few expenses here and there. But if you're an experienced investor and you're watching this, you probably already know that this is not thorough enough and it doesn't have all the expense categories needed. Maybe a couple weeks ago, one of my friends, Alex Camacho, who I mentioned in my first video, he's an experienced flipper. Recently, he just made his own calculator and he sent it to me. When I used his calculator with the numbers of our flip, here you can see that it was a lot closer to our actual profit. As you can see, there is a lot more expense categories and it is way more thorough. I mean, it's still not 100% accurate, but with these kinds of things, you can never really be 100% accurate. But the closer you are, of course, the better. And what I've learned from all this is that, it is better to be wrong about your profit when you think you're going to get less but actually get more than to expect more and get less, which is a big rookie mistake on my part. I do want to point out that in this picture, when I first calculated the rehab, it was supposed to be $80,000, but in this calculator it says that it's $87,000. The reason for that is what brings us to my next mistake. So we spent an extra $7,000 in our rehab. So what happened? So after everything was done, after the renovation was done, we put it on the market, we got a great offer, and we went into escrow for $810,000. During that escrow, when selling the property, after the buyers did their home inspection, they found a couple of things that my GCs and myself kind of overlooked. The major things were, one, the roof. They said it was damaged and needed to be completely replaced. I think that was subjective. I didn't think it had to be replaced, and I think it had 15 years of life left, and I thought it was good in my opinion. So that's why we didn't really bother to mess with the roof. The second thing on the report that they found was that the electrical was old. It was an older home, so it had old electrical wiring. At the time of this home being built, many years ago, it was all up to code. All the wiring was fine. So that's why we really didn't want to mess with any of the wiring. But the buyer's argument was that it was for safety reasons and that, the old electrical wiring was a safety hazard. So, when it comes to safety, I don't really mess around with that, especially because the buyer had 2 little kids. And, I don't want to be known as that guy that sold a faulty home to someone, or even worse, something goes wrong with the home and I'm held liable and I end up getting a lawsuit. With any business, when you're creating a product and you're selling that product, this product needs to be amazing. The third major thing that they found on the report was that they found some other wooden beams under the home that was kind of damaged with termites, and also a leaky pipe for some reason. Like, we didn't see this leaky pipe when I first bought the home. So I guess that was overlooked by the GCs as well as myself, and we really couldn't do anything there, so we just had to tell them to fix it. So originally, with all these problems, the buyers wanted a $30,000 price reduction. Immediately, I said, no way, I'm not doing that. I get it, it's all negotiation. If I were in their position, I would try to come out with a very ambitious request as well. Me and the buyer's agent ended up going back and forth and making a deal, and we told them, okay, we would fix the leaky pipe, the wooden beams, as well as the roof. But when it came to the roof, we said we wouldn't replace it. We would fix some of the minor damage by waterproofing the roof. So all of those fixes came out to about $7,000. On top of that, we told the buyers we're not going to fix the electrical, but instead we'll reduce our price by $15,000. So what did I learn from this? I think, one, I could have disclosed about the old electrical wiring, telling the buyers right up front that, hey, this is an older home, it has older electrical wiring. When you're upfront about things and disclose everything from the beginning, that usually sets you up good. But when things come as a surprise, that's usually when the buyers freak out, because buyers don't like surprises. The next thing I learned from this was to do another home inspection after the renovation is done and before you put it on the market. When I was buying the home, the first thing I did was do a home inspection so I know what I'm getting myself into. That I already knew. But what I learned from this is that, of course, when the renovation is done, do the home inspection. If everything's good, then you put it on the market. The reason why you want to do this is just to see, maybe if you missed anything or if the GCs missed anything. It's better to find out then so you could fix it before putting on the market than to find out with the buyer, like what happened to me, and you end up having to do all these things and then you have to end up reducing your price. All right, the next mistake is a small one, but still a mistake. Basically, I waited too long to order the appliances. This was the fridge, the washer and dryer, the oven, and the microwave. So this honestly should have been the first thing that I ordered. What happened was that luckily our GC finished about 2 weeks early. So when I saw that, I ordered the appliances then. But the problem is when I ordered it, they weren't gonna come in until 2 weeks later. So if I ordered them earlier, that would have saved us an extra 2 weeks. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, 2 weeks, that's not that bad, Jeremy. Like, what's wrong if it's late 2 weeks? Well, when it comes to, flipping homes and using hard money, especially, with high interest, every single day counts. Every day that I own this property, it's costing me money. Since our interest was about $4,300 a month, divide that by 30 days, that means that's about $143 a day. You multiply that by 14 days, that means this mistake cost me about $2,000. So what did I learn from that? Order your appliances first. All right, the last mistake I made, which really isn't that much of a mistake, but I think it was a funny story, so I'll just tell you guys. So when the appliances came in, the washer and the dryer came in first. Me and my partner Fro had to go pick it up from the store instead of it being delivered. Why? Well, it's because if we chose for it to be delivered, they wouldn't be able to deliver it in maybe another 2 or 3 weeks. But if we picked it up, we could pick it up that day. So we picked up the washer and dryer and we left it at the house. Awesome. That wasn't the mistake. The mistake was maybe fast forward a week or so later, all the other appliances came in, the fridge, the oven, microwave, those were delivered and the people delivering it installed it. Awesome. However, we still had the washer and dryer there uninstalled. And I don't know how to install a washer and dryer, neither does my other partner, Alex. So there we were, at the house, Alex and I, and all the people are installing the fridge and the oven. And, I, kind of asked them like, hey, like, you guys, can you install our washer and dryer too? I told them, hey, we'll tip you. And, as they're installing the oven and the fridge, they're right here and their backs are turned to us. And they're like, oh yeah, cool, how much? And then me and Alex are right here. And then I'm like looking at Alex and I'm like, oh, how much should we tip them? And then Alex is like, oh, 2? And I'm like, okay, 2. So I'm like, okay, 200. And the guys were like, installing things. They're, oh, okay, that sounds good. And when I say 200, Alex is over here freaking out, like, dude. And then I'm like, I thought you said 2. And then he was like, I meant 20. And I'm like, oh, you meant 20, my bad. So after that, Alex had to drive all the way to an ATM, get $200, and then come back. And yeah, that was pretty hilarious. So I tell that story to all my friends about what happened, and half of them are like, yo, that's way too expensive. And the other half, they're like, oh, no, that 200 is good. I mean, it's hard physical labor. So if you're still watching this right now, I want your opinion. What do you think? Is $200 way too much, or should we have tipped $20? You be the judge. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. That is everything that went wrong during my first experience of flipping a home and what I learned from it. I hope it helped you guys, learn from these mistakes and know what not to do if you're interested in flipping a home for the first time. And I hope that this video, helps you avoid these mistakes in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel grow. Don't forget to follow me on all my other social media platforms as well. And again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.